On today's show, they're big, they're bold, and they have bells. We take a look inside the Texas tradition of homecoming mums. Duron is in studio to recap last week's football game and cross-country meet. These stories and more on this edition of HTN Daily. Happy Tuesday, Blue Hawk Nation, and welcome back to another exciting episode of HTN Daily. I'm Troy Murphy, and we are live from Studio 1060. To start our forthcoming week of shows, we want to highlight a few students and staff members who are going above and beyond with their costumes. If you don't know or haven't seen students walking the halls with ridiculous sweatshirts and maybe even some Kermit outfits, today is Meme Day. Let's take a look at some of the other students who are dressed up as well. History teacher Miss Cross and Mr. Galloway posed for a photo of their favorite meme, "She Doesn't Even Go Here," before school started this morning. English teacher Miss Morgan posed as her favorite meme, showing off the parts of speech during first period. Nicole Bentner and her friend hopped on Among Us and sported their favorite Among Us colors. Be sure to use our hashtag #RockThatSpirit so we can see your photos and feature them on our show tomorrow. And don't forget that if you dress up, you could win a gift card from Student Council. Now Anica Hankey has today's news.
Thank you, Troyce. Here are today's announcements. Performed on the auditorium steps, the Rock Hill Theater will be recreating the ancient Greek tragedy Medea at 6:30 p.m. this Thursday and Saturday. Tickets will be $5 each and are available to buy at rht.booktix.com. Be sure to tune in to HTN Daily tomorrow for a behind-the-scenes look at the production before its opening on Thursday. Preparation for FOCO Court is currently in motion, and there are a lineup of things happening for this week. The ballots have been announced, and the voting will remain open until 5 p.m. tonight. If you want to be involved in Rock Hill's very first FOCO Court decision, make sure to check your email from Mr. Toth for the link to vote. The freshman through junior court winners will be announced during the community pep rally tomorrow, while the senior winners will be announced during the football game on Friday. Rock Hill Orchestra's debut concert will be taking place tonight at 6:30 in the auditorium with free admissions. The district requires that you wear a proper face mask and asks that you please sit in every other row 6 feet apart from other parties whenever possible. With voting opening up on October 13th, those of the age of 18 or older began lining in to vote in this year's election. However, this year seems to be pulling in more voters than normal. Even in the midst of a pandemic, Collin County has already begun shattering previous early voting records. The first day of early voting back in 2016 was estimated around 31,000, while this year has skyrocketed to roughly 39,000 voters. As Collin County continues to grow in population and size, the voting tallies are expected to rise along with it. No matter your views, if you're 18 plus, registered, and interested in voting, make sure to vote before early voting officially closes on October 30th. That's all of today's news. Back to you, Troyce.
Homecoming mums are a huge part of the fall season, and with everything being bigger in Texas, they can get a little out of hand. Grant Johnson goes inside the booming business of mums.
It's one of the things that you will only find in Texas. 45 employees handcraft 11,000 mums in Plano at the Mum Shop, a 3-month celebration that supports a year-round industry.
I'm originally from Mississippi, so this has been a new experience for me. We moved here about 15 years ago, so my children actually got to do this process.
This Texas-sized tradition seems to begin with humble roots. It started as a simple exchange of flowers between homecoming dates, but in the 1960s, the traditional flowers were ditched for artificial ones. Since then, the mums have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, some mums even being passed down to each generation.
But last year we had somebody that brought their mom in, and then they were remaking it, or we were remaking it for their daughter. So that was interesting because it's a legacy. I know it's a Texas thing in a few places in Oklahoma, I think, but I'm just glad that with everything going on this year that this was still able to take place because it's important. It's a tradition that doesn't need to be skipped.
Not only is this tradition sentimental, but it's also beneficial because it serves as a fundraiser for the Blue Hawk tennis team.
So the Mum Shop donates a portion of all proceeds from the sales of mums and garters back to the Tennis Booster Club, which goes back directly into the tennis program. We give it back into the program for equipment, for uniforms, just supporting the athletes.
What started as a chrysanthemum to wear as a corsage has turned into so much more than just a simple flower. With the mum comes tradition and a lot of hot glue gun burns. For HTN Daily, I'm Grant Johnson.
You saw some of the biggest mums in that story, but we were able to get our hands on this mum to show it off today. This mum costs over $1,500, and as you can see, you have to actually use a rope to carry it.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine wearing this thing around school all day. With the homecoming mums comes high school football, and before we can look forward to this week's game, Juan Duron recaps last week's matchup against Princeton in today's season pass update.
Thank you, Trois. Last Friday night, the Rock Hill Blue Hawks faced the Princeton Panthers away at their stadium and unfortunately suffered another loss, 24-17. Even though last week's game didn't go in our favor, we still had some star players on the field. Players like Brenner Cox, who proved he could be a dual-threat quarterback by throwing and rushing over 100 yards and getting the team another rushing touchdown, and Silas Ivy, who averaged around 10 yards per carry and also rushed for a touchdown. Brian, early the next morning, varsity cross country faced 8 different schools in the NTX XC Circuit Championship. Varsity girls were able to take 4th place, with Alexis Svoboda taking a 4th place finish and Kirsten Tao taking a 5th place finish, while boys cross country took 6th place, with Blake Barnes finishing in 4th place. For the first time in Rock Hill sports history, a team has made it to the playoffs. Connor Fuxa is in studio to talk with Jack O'Hara on varsity tennis's recent success.
I'm here with Jack O'Hara. Thank you, Jack, so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Let's get straight into this. So how does it feel to be the first ever Rock Hill team to make the playoffs?
It feels really good just to be that first team, and hopefully we set a good example for the rest of sports, and we hope that every other sport does really well this year.
What have you and the team done to prepare for the tournament tonight?
Well, I know every single day we've been working really hard after practice as well, and no matter what happens, we just keep working.
So tennis is usually considered an individual sport. How does your team help you while you're on the court?
Even if you're up or down inside a set, match, or whatever you're in, they're always there on the sideline to support and cheer you on, and they always make you try and do better. They always push you.
Great. What kind of impact do you want to have on the underclassmen and future years of tennis at Rock Hill?
I want to set a good example for all the underclassmen, and hopefully they want to be able to follow my footsteps along with all the other seniors on the team, and then we can leave a good team for the next year.
Thank you, Jack, so much for joining me today. Let's toss it back to you guys at the desk.
That's all for today's show. For HTN Daily, I'm Anica Hankey.
I'm Juan Duron.
And I'm Trois Murphy. Mask up and rock on.